The views and opinions expressed on Lockdown Radio should not be considered expert advice. I'm just a dumb electrician who likes to laugh at his own jokes. Enjoy the show.
You walk into a grocery store and you see products on the shelves, thank a trucker. If you walk into a grocery store and you see empty shelves, thank Justin Trudeau.
To say the past few days have been a whirlwind for truckers is an understatement. Ottawa has been twisting and turning on policy.
Just another curveball to the industry.
Truckers will be subject to federal vaccination requirements to enter Canada starting January 15th after all. Until now, they've been exempt. A CBSA spokesperson said Wednesday that exemption would in fact continue for truckers. Thursday evening, the federal health, transport, and public safety ministers issued a statement saying Wednesday's information was provided in error.
Something with that magnitude and that potential impact that it could have on the economy, it was disappointing to see how it was communicated and how it was managed after that.
Trade relations between Ottawa and Washington are vital.
I think it's important to protect Canadians from the virus, but this could actually compromise Canada's food security. And so we're playing with fire right now. We do import for well over $21 billion worth of food from the U.S. every year.
It's going to be bigger. This ain't nothing. We got the ground rumbling now, but just wait. It's going to really rumble.
Hundreds of trucks passed through Saskatoon and Regina Monday before stopping in Balgony for the night. They're convoying from BC to Ottawa in protest of the new vaccine mandate for truck drivers crossing the border.
A lot of people are trying to say that these types of things are done out of anger, but this is actually being done out of frustration towards the things that the government is imposing upon Canadian citizens.
The last few years have been hard on everybody. We're not getting nowhere. This is our freedoms, our rights. They've been taken away. We want them back. We want our decision.
The convoy was met with a large number of supporters braving the cold along the way, many of whom say they are fully vaccinated but are simply against vaccination mandates.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing do not represent the views of Canadians who have been there for each other, who know that following the science and stepping up to protect each other is the best way to continue to ensure our freedoms, our rights, our values as a country.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lockdown Radio. That was Justin Trudeau, the leader of a minority government, expressing some very unacceptable views. On this episode, I travel to Ottawa, where I witness Canadian history in the making. Coming up on this episode of Lockdown Radio, we're just heading downtown Ottawa, and you can already hear the excitement in the background. There's cars and trucks everywhere honking. This is pretty amazing, and it feels like it's about to get really crazy here today.
I'm not against vaccines. I don't want this to be an anti-vax versus vax. I just think the mandates do cross a line, and hopefully it comes to an end, because it's been 2 years and it's too long. It's been a long time since anyone, I think, has felt sense of normalcy, and I'm glad this is happening now, even if it's minus 30.
Do something. Come to Ottawa. Do something. Don't do nothing. This is your country. You always talked about it. Now do something about it. My grandfather did, and he lost his life for it.
Think of all the truckers who are supposed to lose their jobs in a few days or a few weeks or a few months, depending on the company. I mean, it's like you're ending their lives. And you don't just invest your time into learning how to do your job, but they've got expensive equipment, and it's like you can't do that to people. It's ridiculous.
Last night they were coming through here, so they're getting really close to the Capitol, and it was emotional to go out and just witness how many people are just done with this and so tired of it, and out supporting everyone's freedom, whether they're vaxxed or unvaxxed. They're out supporting no more mandates, freedom for all, and we're done, and I'm just thrilled to be here. You have to be here to believe it.
It's incredible, the amount of love, the amount of unity that there is. This is a movement for the people. This is for the children. This is for everything. We need to be here. If you're not here today, you're missing out, honestly, on making history.
It's not about me. It's all these doctors, people that are fighting for our freedom since the beginning of that COVID hysteria. So, I'm a politician who believes in freedoms and personal responsibility, and I'm very, very proud to be Canadians right now.
Hi, I'm great, and everyone else here is feeling just pumped, man.
Are you here all the way from Calgary?
I come from Antarctica for this.
The main message is that the pandemic is basically over. It's time to declare the emergency phase finished and open up to society. The vaccine mandates are null and void. You cannot separate the vaccinated from the unvaccinated because there's no difference in infection. So it's time to open up and stop this insanity.
Welcome back to Lockdown Radio. This past weekend in Ottawa was absolutely awesome. I just want to say, I was there. I did some interviews, which I will play for you. But before that, I just want to say how this really makes me feel proud to be a Canadian to witness this. This really was an historic event, I believe. Really what it was everyday working class Canadians who are just absolutely fed up with tyranny, taking matters into their own hands, but finding a way to do it that is peaceful, a creative way that is also effective. It was really amazing. I'm hopeful that this peaceful protest will actually have the ability to make a big difference, and I think you can see that it already is. It's having an impact. All of the, politicians who are against it, they look very annoyed. There seems to be a lot of pressure being put on them now, which is fantastic. Great to see. After all, they've put a lot of pressure on the people for the past 2 years. So, it's great. Let's keep the pressure coming. It's also happening at a time when the narrative of COVID is really crumbling. There's announcements every week now about, they now know masks don't work. Well, yeah, I've known that for a long time. There's more and more information coming out every day about the vaccines and about, more and more information about how really lockdowns are the number one killer. That freedom of information request that came out of the UK really showed that. It showed that less than 10% of what the media had reported as COVID-19 deaths were actually only attributed to COVID-19. More than 90% of the deaths were actually from another cause. And then they found out, then they asked, then why has there been excess deaths? Why have we experienced, excess mortality? Well, they looked at it, and it turns out a lot of it is cancer, and a lot of it came from missed diagnosis that they were not able to do because they were so hysterical about preventing COVID that they basically, allowed people to just, deteriorate. So it's such a shame. People who paid into this healthcare system their whole life, they contributed to the system, and then they just have their back, they turn their back on them, really. The narrative is crumbling. This is happening at a great time. You can really feel spring is just around the corner. The days are getting longer, and we've got a big protest to get behind in the nation's capital. I think it's fantastic. So here we go. I'm going to play these interviews for you that I did on Saturday at Parliament Hill. Enjoy. Okay, here we are. I don't even know what street this is. What is this, Rideau Street or something? I don't know. I'm not from Ottawa. Anyway, here we are down at the big Freedom Convoy 2022, and I'm joined with...
Hannah.
Hannah, it's very nice to meet you. I see you have a nice float here. What does it say?
It says Freedom 2022.
Nice, in the hay. That's great. So where did you guys come from?
We're from Toronto.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know maybe you were from farm country because of the hay.
Well, just out, like we're in the northern parts of Toronto, so just outside. Yeah.
Nice. And what brings you here today?
To help support all the truckers across the country and hopefully make a change.
Yeah. Okay, and what's your view on, the mandates and the lockdowns and then the whole pandemic in general?
Like, I'm not against, vaccines. I don't want this to be like an anti-vax versus vax. I just think the mandates do cross a line, and hopefully it comes to an end because it's been 2 years and it's too long.
I absolutely agree with you. I think everybody should be able to choose what they want to do.
Exactly.
At this point, if you don't know that there are vaccines available, then I don't know, you must be living in a cave somewhere, right?
Exactly, yeah. It's just so, medical freedom, right? People should have the right to choose and not get judged for it.
Absolutely, yes. We are becoming an incredibly judgmental society right now from this. I can feel the lack of compassion and lack of understanding people's different opinions. Also, a lot of people looking down on other people for their opinions.
One thing I do like about being here this weekend is the amount of support that has come together, and the sense of it's so positive, and it's such a good feeling.
It really is, and it feels like you guys dropped your flag.
No.
Whoa, drop flag down.
Oh shit! Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, no, it certainly feels like
It's been a long time since anyone, I think, has felt sense of normality, and I'm glad this is happening now, even if it's minus 30.
Yeah, well, I was speaking of the weather. I was saying yesterday that this is not a fringe group of minorities. This is the most Canadian thing I've seen in a few years.
It definitely is. I 100% agree. Especially people coming from East and West Coast. They put a lot of time and effort and thought into this, so I'm glad they can join us here.
Me too. Well, very nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you very much for doing that. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right. Compared to what you already have.
Correct. Now, if you really want to look into this, our hospitals were already compromised before this pandemic happened, and that was because of our government. We also had our government went and stopped the warning system before this pandemic even came in. They weren't supposed to do that either. There's a lot of things that these people are doing, and we know it's not right and it's against us for some reason. I don't know why. Conspiracy theories is they want to depopularize us, or they want to do other things with us. That's their fault, right? And that's why we're here to stand up for our rights, our say. We did not hire you to screw with us. But if we can hire you, we can fire you.
Exactly. It seems like the whole dynamic of them working for us has shifted in the last couple years, maybe even longer than the last couple years, to be honest, because it seems like politicians, they just do kind of whatever they want, and
No, they regurgitate. They don't do whatever they want. They just keep regurgitating what the next politicians do. Just look at your buddy O'Toole, okay? And Jarek Singh. They say the same thing that Trudeau says. And we don't like Trudeau because he doesn't say the right things. But yet these guys copy him. What's wrong with you people? I'm just saying, what's wrong with you? Yeah. We need a whole new government system. Now, I heard there's a new one out there right now. It's called the Blue Party. Look into it. And if you don't look into that one, look into another one. Because the ones that we have right now are not working for us.
I absolutely agree. I actually voted PPC in the last federal election because, and I realized that I was in a way throwing away my vote, but I also felt it was still important to make a statement because Aaron O'Fool, as you mentioned, he was not speaking out against anything that was happening over the entire lockdown and pandemic.
All of a sudden he is now. Now, ever since I've known...
It's popular now.
Yes. Ever since I've known about documentations and shit like that, I've never, ever heard of anybody writing in pencil. I haven't. So why are they allowing pencils into our voting system? I don't get it. So they can erase it? I don't know. But these guys are doing a lot of wrong things, and we're waking it up, and we're starting to see it. Even if you don't believe in the pandemic, you got to know, reach down in your soul, know that there's something wrong. Wake up, do something about it. Standing on a bridge, do something. Come to Ottawa, do something. Don't do nothing. This is your country. You always talked about it, now do something about it. My grandfather did, and he lost his life for it.
Well, thank you very much for that, Ken, and thank you very much for defending that Charter of Rights. If we don't defend it, it becomes nothing more than a piece of paper. So thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Have a good day. That was great. Okay, so here we are back at Parliament Hill here, January 29th, the great Freedom Convoy 22, and I'm joined with...
John.
John, very nice to meet you. So what brings you out here today, John?
Well, we came out because there are a lot of reasons. First of all, we're supporting truckers, and that's what this is about. They have the right to work and go where they please, and especially when you're talking about cross-country business, you can't be restricting on one end and not on the other. It makes no sense. So we need to support them up front. But obviously this is about a bigger issue. It's about everyone's freedom, and it's about us also being witnesses to the amount of people here, because we know what the news is going to say. Oh, it's a couple thousand people, blah, blah, blah. And we know better, and I can say, hey, I was there. I was there at the G20 in Toronto when they locked it down. I saw people disappear into vans and stuff, and, it was real. It was a real thing.
Yeah, well, let's actually hope that kind of thing doesn't go on today. The crowd looks amazing. The vibe has been really good. But like you say, the media will cover this in a certain way. They'll back up Trudeau's narrative that it's a fringe group. I've noticed they've tried to show kind of the looniest looking people they can, probably me, on the TV, portraying it a certain way. But I think everyone who's here has been talking to their friends and family for the last 2 years as well, and I think more and more it's pushing through that the message that what the media is saying is false.
Yeah, and it has to, because the ups and downs and lefts and rights, at some point everyone's caught on. They said, 100% efficacy for the vaccine, or 90% efficacy for the vaccine. It will protect you. You won't get sick. And then it's like, well, you might have a breakthrough case here and there. Then it's like, well, it may you get sick, but just less sick. And now it's like, well, yeah, probably it's not going to do anything because there are 1,000 variants coming.
Yeah, it seems like more than ever, there's just virtually no case for the vaccine anymore. It was kind of like they took a chance on something and they kind of blew it. It wasn't really as effective as they said, and it quite frankly wasn't as safe as they said either.
But this is a worldwide thing. I mean, it comes down to World Economic Forum, Agenda 2021, I guess you could say, Agenda 2030. Like, these are the written plans of people. Klaus Schwab, who runs the World Economic Forum, was saying that Justin Trudeau is his acolyte. He trained him. He trained other people like Putin. He said he has half of the Canadian cabinet in his bag. So, I mean, he's implicated himself in a conspiracy. It's called sedition. It's not treason because he's not Canadian, but it's sedition, and they're trying to overthrow our country.
Yeah, I've heard about recently a group called the Young World Leaders, and Justin Trudeau was a part of that. Macron from France, I believe. The woman, the insufferable woman from New Zealand, who I can't stand. She looks like she could chew a cob of corn through a picket fence. You know that one?
He claimed Putin as well. Yeah, she was one of the early ones saying if you don't get you don't wear your mask, you don't get your vax, that's it. You can't do anything. And so, but it's...
And she was proud to say that it was simply a punitive thing, not even really based on health.
Right. Yeah. It's just, this is what we're implementing. You will follow it. Yeah. But it's not lawful.
I call it libtard fascism.
Yeah, but it is well beyond that. This is like, at the end of the day, it's eugenics. You think of all the truckers who are supposed to lose their jobs in a few days or a few weeks or a few months, depending on the company. I mean, it's like you're ending their lives, and you don't just invest your time into learning how to do your job, but they've got expensive equipment, and it's like you can't do that to people. It's ridiculous.
I absolutely agree with you, John. Well, thank you very much for doing this. That was great.
My pleasure.
All right. Would you like a free hat?
No, that's okay. I appreciate it.
Okay, no worries.
I got the card.
All right. Here we are down Parliament Hill, Freedom Convoy 22, and on a beautiful sunny day in Ottawa, and I'm joined with
Sarah.
Sarah, very nice to meet you. What does your sign say there, Sarah?
This one says, thank you to the truckers, mandate freedom, and we have freedom over fear.
I love all those messages. Thank you to the truckers. That really is a great one because, they're taking a chance. They're really sticking their neck out for everybody in the whole country. They're kind of doing what some would say that the military or the police should have done. So I'm just going to move him because I see a dog coming.
Yeah.
They're really doing quite an amazing thing for our country right now.
Yes, I agree. We're all very grateful that they had the courage to take this on, and it's been amazing to watch how the support has grown as they've driven across the country from both sides. We came from Pembroke. Last night they were coming through here, so they're getting really close to the capital, and it was emotional to go out and just witness how many people are just done with this and so tired of it and out supporting everyone's freedom, whether they're vaxxed or unvaxxed. They're out supporting no more mandates, freedom for all, and we're done. And I'm just thrilled to be here. You have to be here to believe it.
This feels like good old Canada back, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it feels like something I haven't seen in a few years.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, and so many Canada flags waving, and just everybody coming together. This is humanity, people coming together. It's beautiful.
Absolutely, and doing it in below minus 20 weather.
Yeah.
How Canadian is that, for one? And also, it shows that how sick we are of this stuff.
Yeah.
If we're standing up now, think about what we're going to be doing in the spring if they try to keep this up.
Exactly. That's what I said. I'm like, it's easy to go out in the summer, but when you have people coming out in minus 30 and getting up at all hours, and I know a lot of the truckers haven't slept a lot, and what a big journey for them. I think it speaks volumes.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sarah. Is there anything else you'd like to add, a message that you'd like to give to the truckers or to anybody else who might be suffering through any of these lockdown measures?
I hope this shows that you're not alone. I know a lot of us felt alone for a while. There you can hear them going by.
I know, it's so loud.
And thank you, truckers. Thank you, everybody. We're not alone. We're in this together. Keep going.
Keep on trucking.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Thanks.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you.
Okay, here we are down at Parliament Hill, Freedom Convoy 2022, and I'm joined with
Palmer. My name is Palmer. Actually, I'm an organizer for protests over in Montreal. My ad is at Montreal Curfew Protests. If you want to go check it out, we have a few thousand, and we've been organizing protests since essentially curfew began. We're out here today. There's a fucking amazing amount of people that have come on out here. It's incredible, the amount of love, the amount of unity that there is. This is a movement for the people. This is for the children. This is for everything. We need to be here. And if you're not here today, you're missing out, honestly, on making history.
Absolutely right. I agree with what you're saying. Yeah. This is a battle that we are supposed to fight. People have been avoiding this fight, but it's just never going to go away until you face it, right?
Absolutely. It's like Ayn Rand says: you can face the consequence. You can ignore the consequences of reality, but you can't. You can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of reality. There you go. That's it, exactly.
Yeah, and then when you can't ignore the consequences of reality, I guess you can invent a new reality for yourself, which many people have done.
Yeah, precisely. So that's kind of the mass psychosis that we're experiencing. That's why there's these people that want to just imagine that this fear is justified, that they want to perpetuate it, they want to put it onto the children, and that's the point. We don't want to live in a society where our kids grow up for this, like this. This is wrong. This is evil. This is just plain simply evil. That's it. Absolutely.
I agree with you. It is an evil agenda, and I think it's coming to a time where the experiment is about to become unblinded, and we're going to see who was on what side, and I'm very proud of the side that I've been on throughout this whole thing, and I feel you are too. Yeah. I think people forcing kids to wear masks and all the rest, I don't think there's going to be a lot to be proud of when all this common sense prevails.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the most seminal aspects of it is the arbitrary division of people who are vaccinated versus unvaccinated. You know, there's no science that shows that there's anything that's even remotely beneficial of going ahead and dividing us like this. This has divided families, communities. It's divided everything that we've loved and known. It's tearing Canada apart. It's evil. It's wrong. And this is why we're stepping up.
And the arbitrariness of that is the cruelty of it, in fact. Absolutely. Because there is no real justification, so you are dividing people kind of for the fun of it.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't disagree. Absolutely.
And what was the name of you said you had a page or a website?
Yeah, so it's a page on Instagram. It's
I'm going to follow you.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll follow you too, and you follow me. It's at Montreal Curfew Protest. That's it. And essentially, it's an organization that I've been the organizing protests in Montreal. We've had a bunch of large protests, and that's essentially it. Yeah.
And you guys, I feel, have been facing some of the worst lockdown measures in the country throughout this whole thing. Yeah. I don't think we ever had a curfew in Ontario, but last night I'm staying in Gatineau, and I was actually concerned. I was walking home after 10, and I thought, am I going to get nabbed by Legault's bedtime police?
Yeah. I mean, I know people who've been tackled. I know people who've been, arrested for this. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's ludicrous, especially and particularly in Quebec. I mean, the fact of the matter is, and I'll say honestly, it's kind of, they have somewhat of a socialist agenda when it comes to the idea that it's all about the healthcare, it's all about these different systems that just clearly aren't working. If they're going to go that route, they have to redirect their funds and actually allocate it to the healthcare. And the problem is that they're just not willing to do it. They're going and using the unvaccinated as a scapegoat, which is blatantly wrong. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're a dog.
White or blue?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, welcome back. Thank you very much for listening to the show. I have one more clip to play. This is from Sunday, right before I was leaving, down at Parliament Hill. It was very crowded, and who did I see but Randy Hillier and Maxime Bernier. And also, standing with them were Dr. Roger Hodkinson and Dr. Paul Alexander. Now, Dr. Hodkinson, I apologize. I pronounced a G when I met him. I believe I said Hodgkinson, and that is not true. And I also mistakenly thought he was from Calgary. I don't know why. I remembered something from one of his interviews. Maybe he worked with the University of Calgary. I'm not sure. But he's actually in Edmonton. So it is Dr. Hodkinson in Edmonton, not Dr. Hodgkinson in Calgary. I don't even know if there is a Dr. Hodgkinson in Calgary. Maybe not. And Dr. Paul Alexander, now I actually accidentally called him Dr. Paul at one time, which was also very stupid of me. That Paul is his first name. He was the was a former COVID advisor at HHS, and he was an early advocate for natural immunity. And he actually took a lot of criticism for his view that if younger people recover from the virus, that it would bring America towards herd immunity. Now, of course, we know that view is now well supported by science. Just as one example, the study that came from Israel in the summer that showed, I think, 13 times less likely to be reinfected if you've had natural immunity, if you've recovered from the virus. And I think maybe 8 times less likely to be hospitalized. It was damning, to be quite honest. Thank you very much for listening to the show, and here is the clip that has Randy Hillier, Maxime Bernier, Dr. Roger Hodkinson, and Dr. Paul Alexander.
Follow me.
Do I follow or not?
You can't stay too long, you said?
I can stay as long as you want.
Okay.
So Jim, you want me to stay here?
No, I want you to stay here for about 2 more, 3 more, 5 more minutes, and then we're going to move over and stay through.
Mr. Hillier, thank you very much for coming to Peterborough this year. That was the best event we've had at all.
Well, this is an even better one today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.
I'm sure you take action. Would you like to interview Dr. Paul Alexander, who's one of the top 3 evidence-based scientists?
Is he right here?
Yeah, he's right there. I can get you an interview. What's your name?
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to be just a second. Hello, Mr. Bernier.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. I do an independent podcast called Lockdown Radio, and you were in Peterborough this past year. It was incredibly amazing. I wanted to thank you very much for that. It was pivotal. It actually changed the whole entire landscape of our fight.
I don't know. It's not me. It's you. It's everybody. It's not about me. It's all these doctors, people that are fighting for our freedom since the beginning of that COVID hysteria. So, I'm a politician who believes in freedoms and personal responsibility, and I'm very, very proud to be Canadians right now.
Thank you very much. Hello, Dr. Hodgson, right?
Yeah. Yes.
How are you?
Hi, I'm great, and everyone else here is feeling just pumped, man.
Are you here all the way from Calgary?
I come from Antarctica for this.
That's excellent. Thank you very much. I love you on Last American Vagabond and Rebel News. Great interviews.
Thank you.
Hi, Roy. It's going to be hard to hear, but I think I'm going to do my best. Right here.
Are you going to?
Yeah.
Dr. Paul Elias Alexander.
Oh, I'm very sorry. Dr. Paul?
Yeah, no problem. So the main message is that the pandemic is basically over. It's time to declare the emergency phase finished and open up to society. The vaccine mandates are null and void. You cannot separate the vaccinated from the unvaccinated because there's no difference in infection. So it's time to open up and stop this insanity.
I agree. It is completely arbitrary to separate, and that is the cruelty of the mandate, is how arbitrary it is.
Very arbitrary. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking out.
His name is Dr. Paul
Okay,
Alexander.
Jim, are we going to make our way there?
Dr. Paul Alexander, thank you very much. Got it.